I just text Mr. Ezel a text message. I didn't get a response back from him, but we have enough people here to form a quorum, so we'll go ahead and call our meeting to order. And today's June the 28th, 3 p.m. Could we get a roll call, please?
Chairperson Winters,
Here.
Vice Chairperson Ezel, Commissioner Davis,
Here.
Commissioner Lance,
Here.
Commissioner Rogers.
Okay. If everyone would stand with me and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're called here an emergency call meeting for the property located at 1621 State Line Road. Anybody that's going to testify on behalf of this property, if you would, come to the microphone, please, the owner of the property. And you get us an update on this property, Dorian.
Using it.
We're not sure exactly what you need. There's some extenuating circumstances.
We'll let codes enforcement advise us of the violation, and then we'll let you address those issues.
Whatever works
okay.
for you.
Go ahead, Ms. Holden.
Ready?
Yes.
So I have received 4 complaints in 2 days. This was yesterday, which was Tuesday. 3 of those were due to some water issues that's not really relatable to Mr. Johnson's property. However, the 4th one was they were complaining of having rats. When I went by to look at the exterior for the backyard for the flooding, there is some debris back there. I had the police department go with me yesterday just to do a wellness check on him, make sure everything was okay, that he had water, electricity, etc. I was informed that he did not have water turned on at the property currently, but he could. I asked if I could see the inside of the property, and he did let me go through the inside of the property. As the property currently stands, it is a life and safety hazard and threat to him for him being in there due to all of the amounts of items and debris that are in the house. There's only 2 forms of egress that I could see, and both of those are blocked. I had to climb up in through all the stuff to get into the house.
I've cleared it now. I have cleared it by now.
So all of the issues at hand are honestly just the amount of debris that are in there, it blocking the egress, just being unsanitary and not suitable living conditions, and then not having the water on, from what I could see.
It isn't,
Has anybody been residing at the property?
Yes, sir.
yes, I do. It isn't really all that bad. I keep the water turned off and I turn it on when I need it to drink or bathe in. But I have electricity, but I try to not use electricity all that much. I've been poor, and I've been having flood problems at that house, and it does flood there, and it washes pots and other things I keep in my yard about. And the other day we had a big storm, and it tore half of a tree next door. It tore it onto my property. It tore a hole in these people's fence next door. It tore a hole in their fence, and it fell onto my house. It was a big tree, and we've had some tree service come out and saw it up. And I've got big limbs. It's going to take a while to clear these big limbs out. Some of them are small, or some of them I can saw myself. And the city would take some, and I don't know what I'm going to do with some of these big limbs. It'll take a while to clean that up. And I've got flower pots and other things about in the lot, and the flood washes the trash out. It does flood around at my land, and a couple of houses on either side, it floods there. And I'll try to clean it up a little at a time. I'll clean up the brush, the big limbs. I don't know how I'm gonna saw off the big limbs, get someone maybe hired who had a chainsaw to do it maybe.
Yeah, Mr. Johnson, about your water, is it turned off by the utility company, or
Oh,
is
I
it?
turned it off. I
So
turned
it's
it
turned
off.
off at the road?
Yeah, at the
or-
road. I turn it off because it's got a leak, and I use it maybe about once a week, every so often when I need it to fill up drinking water and bathe in. I can turn it on if I want to, but it's got a little leak, and that's why I keep it off.
Explain where the leak is.
In the bathroom.
It's at the faucet.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and so he felt, well, you tell him why you turned it off.
Because I'm kind of poor, and I'm trying to make do with little electricity and little water. I'm trying to. I have electricity, but I try to use it little, very little. I don't run the lights at night or run TV too much. I do have electricity, and I can use it, and I've got water, and I can use it.
All right.
I'm not in no emergency,
Listen.
but I am a little poor.
Listen, could I talk to him now
Yeah,
like we
yeah,
talked
yeah,
about?
yeah.
All right, if you'll step back a little bit.
Yeah, if you would state your name and
My
your
name is
relation.
Danny Gaddy, and
Danny,
Gaddy, G-A-D-D-Y.
okay,
This is my wife, Anita.
Okay.
She's his sister, I'm his brother-in-law. And we try to help him. One of the things that I have been doing for a long time now is serving as a liaison with him with one, I'm kind of restricted by HIPAA rules, but he has a case manager that I called. I called Joe Johnson today to discuss the possibility of difficulty. There's different things that any change, any big change, especially change in access to his property or his materials, all of the materials are very important to him. And
I've got furniture and other stuff. I'm
he has,
trying to some
Any-
of it resell.
if it's in there, it's important. And we have been working, we have medication that really, really helps, and things have improved. And we're working with a case manager to get him involved. I don't know if you're familiar with the AIM Center, but it is a center that helps. He's very bright. You can tell from listening to him that he's capable. And we are working in that direction. But the thing that has accumulated, we had everything cleaned out, then the pandemic hit, and during the pandemic, I wouldn't go back inside the house because I had no idea where he went during the day, and things had accumulated again.
We were not aware that it was to
I'm poor,
that
and I'm
degree.
trying to stay out of poverty and resell furniture and other stuff, and I've been
Okay.
trying to
If you'll wait a minute.
get all that stuff cleaned up too.
So what I would ask is that I called on like an emergency basis today, and they will get back to me, but it may be later today. And what I want to know is how to best handle the anxiety that it can get to the point that I'm concerned. So I want to go through the case manager, and we're not asking for some kind of indefinite, we're in agreement that everything needs to be cleaned up, and we will help make that happen. But the big thing that I was concerned about was if he were to immediately lose access to it. So one of the things that could happen is if he were to have to stay like in like a hotel room or a motel room, as long as he had access to the stuff, I think he would be okay if something like that. But those are the kind of questions that I would rather involve a professional in advising me. I did work with the school system. I was a liaison with mental health in the school system. I know a lot about it, but I'm not his case manager, and I am not somebody that I feel comfortable assuming that responsibility. So I'm here not as a professional, but as actually a friend. He is a person who, once you get to know him, he's a really good person. But there are things that mean more to him than it would to most of us.
I understand.
And
Well,
it's an
everybody's
issue.
concerned about it, sir. Even codes enforcement, they wouldn't have brought it before our attention if they hadn't been concerned also.
Yes.
But as it stands right now, the property's gonna have to be brought up to code, and it's gonna have to be cleaned up, and the utilities are gonna have to be turned on, stay on, and the house brought up to sanitation standards, you know. Has he got a place he can stay till that
No
process?
emergency needed, no such thing. I'm fine, sir. I don't want to do that, but
I,
I'm fine. I'm
No,
for
not
it,
really.
that's all. I'm otherwise fine.
Well, looking at these photographs and everything that's been presented to us.
Yep.
You know, the toilet, the vanity, just all the debris in each one of the rooms, it needs to be cleaned up. It looks like you need a dumpster out there.
I will
to-
a little at a time, sir. I'm trying to resell stuff and other things. I've got to get the backyard too, because I've got all those limbs, and I've got stuff from the flood. We did get a flood where I live.
We're not really, Mr. Johnson,
Phil, it's gonna take a long time. I've got to get that out of the way, those limbs and stuff out of the yard.
Mr. Johnson, we're not so concerned with the limbs.
Take a little
And,
while, I'll gradually do that.
yeah,
Mr. Johnson, if I may, please let the chairperson finish his statement, and then you can respond, okay, sir?
we're more concerned, with the house inside, your living conditions, the sanitation, I don't know what's garbage and what's collectible to you, you know, what you're wanting to save. But nobody should have to live in an environment like that.
I'm a little poor, sir, but I can turn on the water and I can use the electricity. I'm a little poor and I'm just trying to make do and resell stuff. And I'll gradually clean it up if you can give me maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I've been so busy with that brush that tornado that knocked the limbs down. I've got to get that out, and some of it I can get out myself, and the city will take it. I'm gonna have to maybe get someone with a
Mike,
chainsaw.
if you could wait for a second.
Is there any way you have an emergency contact for the individual helping him at
I'm in no emergency, sir, but I am
Ames Center?
poor.
The
sir.
Ames
I'm in
Center.
no emergency.
We understand,
The
Mr. Johnson.
emergency contact actually is through Joe Johnson Mental Health Center. And that's where his case manager is. And I did call and ask for someone to work with me about this today. I was assured that they would. It may happen. They have a pretty big caseload. So it may happen later. It didn't happen before 3. And the thing that I'm looking at is all I would ask is we're in agreement to bring everything up to code. That is not an issue, and I just am looking at you, sir, because you're the chairman. But that's the same thing, is we're in agreement with that. That's not a problem.
I think we're concerned that an immediate displacement would cause a lot of trauma.
That's
Do you
what we're
have,
concerned
do you have a
about.
caseworker prior to this?
Kinda poor and bad off, but I can go on living there. Fine.
If you could wait, this lady would like to speak.
I just
to
have
me,
a
and I-
question. Did he have a caseworker?
Yes, he has.
I
Prior?
don't think,
Yes.
I'm in any emergency.
What does that,
Or any such thing as that.
so a caseworker with the Ames Center or with Joe Johnson
Joe
previously?
Johnson.
Do
There's-
they do home visits and that kind of thing?
They have not done home visits, no. They have,
They're very understanding.
they're understaffed. You read about it a lot, but and I don't want to, take up your time
Oh, it's
with
fine,
stuff,
sure.
but I want you to understand the situation. At Joe Johnson Mental Health Center, he has a case manager, but he also has a medical person who manages the medication. We were dealing with, without getting into HIPAA, more serious issues were what were occurring. That's where I don't want to go back to. to more serious mental health issues. And stress is one of the issues that causes that to happen. So, please, so the main thing that I would like, and all I'm really asking for, is to be able to get together with them and try to work something out. The other thing that has happened as a result of this, and I think you and I talked briefly, we would like to take this and make it a positive thing. Mr. Johnson has been reluctant to be involved on a regular basis with AIM.
Not really any emergency need.
But I believe that he would become more willing to do that. That would help. And the second thing is, we want to get, he worked at Olin Mills for many, many, many years and only left when they shut down. He has Social Security that he has not tapped into, that we had a plan at the mental health facility to be able to get him declared in need of that now. He is 62? 62. And they were saying that they felt he would meet the criteria to begin to get additional monies. And it is something that we're so close to that we haven't been, that I understand the concerns, and we had the same, but you can't, he has never been declared incompetent, so he gets to make his own decisions. The issue that we're dealing with is a problem that shows itself in poor decision-making. And so what we're trying to do as his support is try to get him to go in the right direction, and we've done that. And we went back, his sister helped clean everything up. Things were totally cleaned up prior to the pandemic.
What can we do to eliminate that problem right now, to get the property cleaned up?
We can get some,
Just give me some time, maybe a couple of weeks to clear all
Mike,
this stuff.
Mike,
Maybe a couple of
at this point, I'm not sure he's asking you a question. I think he's asking me. We can work out something, we can hire somebody to help us do it. The last time, we did it ourselves, and it was quite a job to do. So we're willing to do that kind of thing, if that's what's necessary.
Has he got a place he could stay till it's completed and re-inspected?
It's kind of poor, but other than that, I'm fine, I'm content to stay there. I'm in no emergency need of money or any kind of mental health, but I'm just poor, and it is a lot of stress.
It's one thing to be poor, and it's another thing to live, with that, all of
Yeah,
that,
see,
so.
He really, first of all, he doesn't have any income, but the second thing would be, is that he might be able to go like to a nearby motel room.
I don't have to do
No,
that.
Mike, I'm gonna have to ask you for just a minute, please. If you want me to help you, let me help you, if I can. May not be able to, okay? Here's my concern, is that if we lock things down, it's one thing to say you can't be in there and live there. It's another thing to say, this is locked, you can't go in the door at all. That's the thing that if y'all can see your way clear to avoiding that, if he were somewhere close, he could start working on moving stuff out. We've got to get in there to clean it up.
I've got to get other stuff like those limbs all over the place,
He's,
the flood problems.
obsessive would be an example of something. And so he locks onto things. So right now it's limbs. And yes, there were lots of limbs. It was a definite storm, and a very nice man who was dealing with the tree next door cut the limbs up that hit him. The house, it was on the house. I don't know how it didn't damage the house. So people are trying to work with it. This is a matter of timing. We're in 100% agreement. It is not something that he should be in. We will have to figure out a way to get him a place to stay. I don't,
Danny,
I,
I can live there.
So,
listen, she's got an idea, please listen.
just so y'all know, and so we're clear, he just can't live there. So if it's something where we can get him placement, which I do have resources available for you guys ready to go.
I
We
don't
just
want
need
to
to
bother to do
get
that.
with it.
I
Hold on
can-
one second,
I can-
Mr.
I can
Mike.
bring it up to code and.
Just one second, okay? Just one second, one quick second. So, he can, if he can reside in, you know, hotel motel that's close and then go and do what he needs to do, that's fine. He just cannot live there.
I can live
that's the
there
biggest
fine,
thing.
but it's
Now,
kind of in
now,
poverty.
all right,
It's
stop
poor,
and listen.
And it's
Listen.
poor, but I can live there fine.
Listen. You're really lucky, this is just a small group. Okay, here we go. It's real simple. You heard what you just said, he cannot live there. But listen, would you rather have them lock it so you can't get in? Or would you
I'll
rather?
gradually get it repaired. I'll bring the,
Or.
fix the leak there and other.
You really need some
other
help.
Repairs, clean it up. I'll do the, fix the leaks and other repairs.
Let me, if I may interject, okay? And I'm rep the city attorney's office, so I'm not here to ask you questions, and I'm also not here to give legal advice. But the city's concern is the condition inside the property. And if you look at the applicable codes that the city has provided you, the codes enforcement has determined that the condition inside the property, yes, sir, please hear me out. Please hear me out. The present condition of the property, as inspected in these photographs yesterday, the city has determined that it is unfit for human habitation because it is dangerous. So that is, Mr. Johnson, let me finish, please, and I'll let you respond. So the city's concern here today is your safety and the safety on that property. The city is not saying that you can never go back there. That's not what codes enforcement is trying to do here today. Codes enforcement wants you to bring this property into compliance.
Yes, sir. Just give me.
And I'm almost done, and then you can respond, okay? But because it has been condemned as unsafe for human habitation, the code prohibits you from currently occupying the property. And
It's not really all that bad. It's no emergency. If you'll just give me a little while to bring it up to code, to fix the leak, and I've got some electric repairs that I need to be fixed a little. It'd take a little.
If we
while,
could
maybe
ask
few
a
weeks,
question.
and I can-
We ask a question of Tori to give us an explanation of the current condition and why it's considered that bad. That's okay.
Say that again, I'm so sorry, Ms. Lance.
If you could give us a description of why it's so bad at this point. What are the conditions?
So structurally, I could not tell you. I can't see it. As it stands, it's all of the debris and items that are blocking the egress to where you can't get in, get out, etc. And just the overall sanitary living conditions of it.
In your opinion, how long should it take to clear out?
It depends on if you guys plan on like getting a crew, or if y'all plan doing it yourself. Doing it yourself, it's gonna take some time.
We would need probably I just had surgery, so I'm not gonna be able to do a lot. So we would need a crew, but what we could do is, again, going through Joe Johnson, we could get maybe support like of a church or something else. Years ago, there was a fire at that particular site, and there was a great church that came in and helped repair things. So I think that he is worthy of that. He's a good person. He is a person who cannot manage on his own very well. And we do our best, but it doesn't always work the way you are. So what I'm asking for only is if I can follow up on the emergency call that I made today. And what is today? Today is Wednesday? Okay, so I will certainly hear from them by tomorrow. I will go down there in person. And if the way that they work, they are short-staffed enough that if I can't see his nurse that's in charge, it's two things. One, I would like to add medication for anxiety because of all of this. I think that would be something that would help him. and then get them to work it out. What we're hoping to do is get him into the AIM Center where he could be trained and go back. He was employed for years and years and years and did a really good job as a custodian at Olin Mills. So
I just
think
wanted to
he's still
follow up
there.
a little bit more, just to get a clarification, because you had a complaint of rats. Did you find evidence of that?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. It took everything I had just to get in and to get over the amount of stuff that's in there. If they are, they're going to be buried deep under all that stuff.
Okay.
Um,
Is there a living space? Because in the picture, I didn't see like a bedroom, or you couldn't,
so when you go to the hallway, there's 2 doors. Those were both closed, and I could not get access to those. He did tell me that one of the rooms did have a bed. What it looks like inside, I don't know. I couldn't get to it.
okay.
He's got multiple rooms with beds, but he sleeps here and there.
That's what he said,
Depending-
the couch and
Yeah,
the bed.
depending on what the deal was. And as I said, prior to the pandemic, I would go in regularly.
But you haven't seen it either.
Yeah, well, and
Lately.
once I stopped doing that, by the time I started back, it was like, this is not something I'm gonna be able to deal with at this point. So we have been trying to get him to agree to move forward with something positive. And at 62, you know, he will actually have, should have access to Social Security as disability, I hope.
Mr. Gaddy, let me ask you a question. Do you and your wife, have y'all not taken action recently because you think you don't have the authority to take action? Or is it more out of concern for his mental health?
It is, one, we don't have the authority, not, I don't think. He is not our dependent. And I don't think that we would want to do that if we could help it, because, it would be taken on quite a bit. What I'm thinking is that if he were able to get Social Security and go through the AIM Center, he could get programming and looking at a group home is what we think that he needs. If we say group home, he will explain he doesn't want that. But it's a step-by-step process where people become more accustomed to something. They think it's something that it's not.
I think the main thing right now is his understanding that because of codes, he can't live there, and he doesn't understand that.
We will make sure that he knows that. And then what I would like, if y'all will allow it, is let me work with the people at Joe Johnson. He is a known entity. He has been working with them for years. And, you know, we have made great progress with a new medication. Things are better than it used to be. But as you see, there are still issues. And the only thing I can say is I appreciate you listening. I know it's not your normal circumstance. And if we had an easy fix, we would have been doing it. But
Are you his closest relative? His sister?
yes.
Did he ever have children?
We don't have children.
Him, Mr. Johnson?
No, he never married. He had a brother, and he had 2 parents. And he was managed by his mother for many, many years. And indeed, she would drive him to Olin Mills. And he would work at Olin Mills, and he was fine. When he was in high school, he was smart. You know, he is fully capable. He will tell you. He remembers all kinds of things. But the biggest issue that he has trouble with now is obsessive stuff and just locking on to yes. I couldn't tell you any better than he could show you. I'm sorry. But he's a good guy, and we're trying to figure a way out. And we would like him to live in better conditions, but you can't make somebody do it. And that's where we're trying to get to the point that a combination either of medicine or of like a,
Would he understand the concept of being able to be there during the day, to unlock the door, clean out, get personal items, but having to sleep in a hotel room and shower in a hotel room. Does
He
he
will
know the does he understand visiting there and not being able to live there?
Yes, he will understand that.
Okay. I
And
mean, it's
what
not.
he needs to
He's not
understand,
losing his home. He just needs to get cleaned up to be able to sleep and live there and eat there and.
right, but he also understands consequences. So
Right.
he needs to know that he will be given that access, but that he cannot violate that.
Right.
And he can't go in over there. And I don't believe he would do that. There was-
Would you have the time to oversee the cleanup?
My wife and I will make the time to do that, yes, sir. And we will find who, that's our problem, to figure out how we're gonna do it.
Well, it appears he doesn't have the capability to stand there and do it in a timely manner to get back into his home. But what about his immediate plans for housing? Like tonight, where's he gonna stay tonight?
Well, his plan was to go back where he was.
I understand
So
that.
what we need to do, we discussed, I don't want to speak for you.
I have resources for that.
Okay.
So he has a place to go tonight. Okay.
All right,
Okay.
and we haven't had a chance to discuss any of that. We just talked about that might be a potential need.
What we talked about yesterday was just trying to get with, Miss Anita and come up with a plan of what they want to do and then to address you guys. And that I was going to work on my side to see what resources I had at my fingertips. And I've been able to secure those, so.
How long of a time frame?
Okay. I open for, a motion to condemn the place until it becomes compliant.
Within what time frame? Are we talking about 30 days or, I mean,
I think, given the potential emergent nature of all the various issues involved, it would behoove the commission to revisit this case at July's meeting. just
Okay.
for status.
date of that? Say 12th, but I wasn't sure. That's a Monday. No, that's you.
Should be the 19th, or set y'all the 2nd, sorry.
12th, yeah, July 12th.
I would like to make a motion to condemn the home with only access for cleanup overseen by codes, and to revisit this July 12th to check progress, to see how close we are for him regaining his occupancy to the home.
Second.
We have a motion with a second to condemn the property and pass this case to our next meeting. Get a roll call, please.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Lance,
Yes.
Chairperson Winters.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, well, good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Listen, as I said, was in the school system for years, and I just always, every chance I get, when people deal with things as human beings, I just say thank you. I appreciate it very much.
We appreciate you.